Well, good evening, Central Georgia. We've been anticipating the arrival of some storms for quite a while now. We officially have our first severe thunderstorm warning for the far western part of Taylor County. So let's break it all down with the radar scan. Here's a severe thunderstorm warning, and as you can see, the majority of the places within the warnings are far west of our viewing area. So it consists of Talbot, portions of Marion, but we also have a sliver of far west Taylor County. So that's why we are going on air, or we're going live right now, because the severe thunderstorm warning is officially in central Georgia. So why did they produce this severe thunderstorm warning? It's because of these gusty winds. This is in Harris County as of right now. We're seeing that the worst of the winds is just north of Hamilton, south of Pine Mountain. And this is generally headed towards the east, and that is the reason why we have the warning right now in Taylor County, even though they're not receiving any rain or storms as of right now. But I'd say they could feel that gust front, that breeze that you feel ahead of the storm. I think that could be felt as of right now for far west Taylor County. Here's a look at the radar. We're seeing that we have that Boeing segment heading into Talbot County. So whenever you have the Boeing segment right here, that just shows you that the area of strong winds is within this segment, this part of the storm. We also have frequent lightning over here. But this is once again still in Talbot County. This is not in central Georgia, but it is moving into Taylor County, and I'd say it will probably move into South Upson County pretty soon. So for those of you who are watching and are not in the western counties, I'm going to zoom out just to show you where you are in the proximity of the severe thunderstorm warning. So as you can see, most of us is mainly dry. We're not experiencing anything right now. We have a couple of showers just towards our northwest in Monroe County, and Lamar County as well. So right now, if you're watching and you're wondering if this is going to affect us, it's the first sign of the arrival of the storm. Technically, the storm is not necessarily in central Georgia, but that severe thunderstorm warning polygon consists of the far west part of Taylor County. So that's why we're just getting ready. We're gearing up towards this arrival of the storm. And this line of storms and rain is not necessarily powerful, it's not robust, but we've seen our fair share of warnings within this system towards the west. So I saw that Alabama received some warnings near Auburn. Atlanta has been receiving various warnings, and they've also been receiving some short-lived tornado warnings as well. The rotation not necessarily was defined in nature, but it was still enough for the National Weather Service to issue the warning just to be safe. So that could definitely be a possibility for later today. But as of right now, our eyes are focused on this severe thunderstorm warning right now in Talbot County, but it's just, it could go into Taylor County. That's why the polygon includes that far west part of Taylor County. We're going to go check, once again, the velocity. So this is the thing that tells us how strong the winds are generally consisting of. So we're seeing that we have the brighter colors right now in Harris County going into Talbot County. Here's that segment of gusty winds. This is going to go into the east and potentially into North Taylor County and South Upson County. But Upson County, as of right now, they're not under that severe thunderstorm polygon, but I'd say they will be included pretty soon if the gusty winds continue. We're going to go also up north, because even though this severe thunderstorm warning just north of Butts County, even though it's not technically in central Georgia, is still producing some gusty winds and some tornado warnings. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because it's been a trend so far by the National Weather Service just to send out some tornado warnings, even though there's little signs of an actual tornado on the ground. They've been sending out those warnings just in case of maybe some spin up rotation. So that is the reason why they have 2 tornado warnings just north of Butts County. Let's see the specific county, Newton County, sorry. And okay, we have a tornado warning for Jasper County as well. Okay. So with that being said, we are going to go live on the air. So this tornado warning is officially for Central Georgia. It's only for the far west part of Jasper County, but because of that, we're going to go on the air. So we'll be back. We'll be back in a couple of moments, but as of right now, we're just going to get everything together so that we could go to the green screen as of right now. So we'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3.
You done? David,
Yep, we're about to go on.
you mic ready?
Yep.
Okay. We're bumping into this thing. Here we go.
Well, good evening, Central Georgia. We are live on air to cover a tornado warning. Now, this is for far west Jasper County. The rotation by the National Weather Service is located just north of Jackson. We're going to zoom in just to show you where it is. So technically, this rotation is not in Central Georgia, but the general path, which is going towards the east, this is going into Jasper County, just north of Monticello. So that is the reason why we have a tornado warning here in Central Georgia. Here's the base velocity, just to show you where the rotation is and where it's currently at. And it's showing, actually, this is, our system is not showing the right, the graphics are not showing the right correlation. So I'm just going to go change it real quick. I'm just going to tell our production team to change it to max 1. So we are going off air, but people can follow us on the stream. We'll continue coverage on the stream, and that's where we'll continue coverage throughout the rest of the night. So stream it on 13WZ+. We'll be live on the social media platforms as well to answer any questions. But as of right now, we have a tornado warning for far west Jasper County. All right, we're back on the stream. So we are now going to cover this tornado warning more in depth. Technically, the tornado warning, or the rotation consisting of the tornado warning, that's not in central Georgia, but it is approaching far north of Jasper County. This is until 9:45 and is moving towards the east. So we are going to try to take this full screen right here. And it is right now showing that the rain is falling hard, but here's the rotation, and it's just right behind me, just north of Jackson, but is moving towards the east. And notice that the rotation is not strong at all. We're not seeing any signs of the winds going against each other, which typically shows that of a defined rotation maybe on the ground. This is more of a broad rotation. And what the National Weather Service is thinking is that there's signs of a spin-up tornado, but not necessarily any signs that it's on the ground. So that is why they have this preliminary warning right now. And we've seen these warnings occur so far today. We've seen 6 warnings in North Georgia, but none of them have been prolonged. None of them have been going on for a while. So we suspect that this tornado warning will last for maybe a couple of minutes. All right, we have another tornado warning. This is for Upson County. And this is showing more of a defined rotation. So with that, we are going to see where this rotation is. This is just south of Manchester, north of Talbotton. That's the rotation that is being warned and is going towards the east, towards Upson County. So places within this path of the tornado will be Thomaston, far west Upson County. We're going to go more in depth. Here are the places that could be within the path: Roland, Sunset Village, Lincoln Park. We have Highway 36, Highway 19. Those are the places that should be aware that a potential tornado is coming your way. So I would get into your safe spot if you're within these areas. And I'm going to check something real quick. We also have Highway 74, Highway 19, and Highway 36. Those are the places that may want to get into your safe spots. We have rotation, not necessarily any signs that it's on the ground, but it could definitely turn into something that will be on the ground in the next couple of moments. But generally, rotation is heading towards the western part of Upson County. So that is why they're under a tornado warning. So if you're in any of those places, it's best to be within your safe spot. We are going to try to change it to, I am going to text my producer just to tell him to make these graphics full screen just to allow you to better see them. There we go. All right. So we have the base velocity right there. And also I'm going to try to tell them, can they change the graphics towards max 1, please? Or sorry, max 2, please. Max 2. That way I can show on the computer. There we go. All right, we have the Max 2 graphics. We can finally show you on the green screen. So here's the tornado warning just west of Upson County. This is a defined rotation, and it is near Woodland. It's south of Manchester. So technically this is in Talbot County, but this rotation is heading towards Thomaston as we speak. Here's the look at the rotation right there. I'm going to go zoom in right now just to show you where it is. So right here is the rotation. So places that should get into your safe spots is Highway 190. This is going more towards the east along Highway 36. So if you're within Roland, near Highway 36, it's best to get into your safe spot. That will be the best procedure to do in the next couple of moments. What is the safe spot? Well, into the most interior room, lowest level, and away from windows, because of course windows could provide some potential debris if there is an actual tornado on the ground. Right now we're not seeing any signs that this tornado is on the ground, but we have signs of rotation and potential of a spin-up tornado. And so far today we've seen a couple tornado warnings pop up, and the National Weather Service have said that it's due to the spin-up nature of the winds that could indicate that there's maybe something brewing, maybe something that wants to spin. And we are seeing with this radar scan that we have the colors going against each other. And this is just the west of Upson County, but it's heading towards Upson County. So that's the reason why they are under a tornado warning. So we're going to extend the view a little bit just to show you a little bit of a large picture of Upson County, where they should expect this tornado to come from. Once again, it should come from a little bit from the southwest, and it's going towards the east into Upson County. We are going to take a look at the reflectivity right now. Here is the tornado, and one of the things that indicate potential rotation is kinks within the reflectivity. So what do I mean by kinks? Notice the winds going into the opposite direction towards the west. That means that the winds are trying to go to the opposite direction into maybe against the flow of the general storm. So that's why the National Weather Service has said, hey, there's potentially a rotation there. So rotation is just towards the west of Upson County. We're going to go back to the base velocity. Here you go. Once again, rotation just towards the east of Woodland, right over here. I'm going to go show you that rotation. There you go. Moving towards the east into Upson County. Not necessarily in Upson County just yet, but if you're in Upson County, it's just best to be prepared as of right now, just to know potential rotation and potential tornado is heading your way. So if you're in Upson County, I'd say get into your safe spot, lowest level, away from windows, and the most interior room as possible. So that could be a bathroom or potentially a closet. We also have another tornado warning. This is just in the far west part of Jasper County. Here's that rotation. It is not necessarily in Jasper County. This is in Butts County, just north of Jackson. So the rotation just northeast of Jackson, heading into Jasper County. The rotation itself is not as broad. I'd say the rotation just to the west of Upson County is more impressive, but it's still something to take note and be aware. If you are, let me move a little bit out of this way. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. If you are northwest of Monticello, I'd say be aware something is potentially approaching. The rotation is going towards the most northwestern part of Jasper County. We're going to zoom in a little bit with the radar scans now showing that the rotation is going into the Jasper County border. We're going to go zoom in also into the street names. So along 212, Alcolvie Shores, potentially 221 as well. So along this area, just towards the northwest part of Jasper County, they should be aware that a tornado could be heading their way. We're also going to zoom out just a little to show you some of the areas just towards the east of it. Highway 11, let's zoom out of this. I'm sorry if I misspelled this, Pallado, that could be also into the direction of this rotation. Highway 11, 221, and 212. If you're within the proximity of these roads, it will be best to head into your safe spot as of right now. Let's see the general direction and the speed of this rotation. So right now I'm looking at the information given to me by the National Weather Service. Not seeing much there. But all in all, if you are near all Colby Shores, 221, 212, just towards the northwestern part of Jasper County, those are the places that should be aware that a potential tornado is heading towards you. Now, if you are listening, we're not seeing any signs that there's any impressive tornado signs on the ground, but all in all, it could be a potential spin up, but that's still enough to take it seriously and head to your safe spots. Lowest level, away from windows, and having the most interior part of your house or building as possible. So away from windows, that's the most important part. So, you know, if you're listening, just follow those procedures into your safe spot. Once again, for far north Jasper County, we also have this tornado warning extended into the eastern part of Jasper County. So let's extend the view there. So this tornado warning is until 10 o'clock. The polygon is just north of Monticello, a little bit west of Shadydale. So consisting of west and central Jasper County. So within these areas, not seeing any rain or signs of the rotation, but it means that the direction is going towards these areas. We have the storm relative velocity, and the rotation is broadening. Rotation is becoming less impressive, but it's still there. This is the rotation right here. Alrighty. Rotation is just towards the northwest of Monticello, officially getting into the county lines of Jasper County. We're going to zoom in for the state routes and for the cities nearby, or the towns nearby. So this is now moving into all Colby Shores, moving just towards the west of 221. It's going a little bit north of 212. So it's actually going within the intersection of 221 and 212. So the areas that should be aware of potential rotation coming towards them, this will be west of Pallado, west of, State Route 11. So within this area, State Route 11, 221, in between all Colby Shores and Pallado, these are the areas that should be aware of rotation coming towards them. And they should be being prepared to go into their safe spots, lowest level, away from windows, and being into the most interior spot of their house or residence. We're going to zoom back because I know a lot of people are watching, say in Lawrence County, Macon County, and they want to know how this will affect them. So the two tornado warnings in central Georgia, Jasper County, so far north central Georgia, and then we also have a tornado warning that consists of the majority of Upson County. This is far west central Georgia. And as you notice here, most of central Georgia is staying dry, but we will be receiving the rain and storms pretty soon. We're going to go zoom in once again to the Upson County tornado warning. And right here we notice that the reflectivity shows some inflow going inward, inside the, or going the opposite direction of the flow of the storm. Here's the storm relative velocity, and the winds show that the rotation is becoming a little bit more impressive, but still not enough to indicate potentially a tornado on the ground, but it's still enough to be aware and to be prepared of potential rotation coming towards them. So Upson County should be aware that rotation's coming towards their direction. This rotation is going towards the east, so places that should be prepared for this rotation should be Thomaston. If you live south of Upson County, we're going to go into the street names and the roads. State Route 19 and Birdsong Crossroad. We also have, we're going to go a little bit towards the south. We also have Highway 80, Highway 19. Let's see what this state route is. So Highway 80, Highway 19, north of Carsonville. If you're within any of these areas, best to get into your safe spot as of right now. We're going to go back to the reflectivity. And the reflectivity does not show any notches, any kinks within the radar, but as you just saw with the winds, the rotation was there, and it's officially now moving into Upson County. This tornado warning is until 10 o'clock this evening. We're going to once again go back towards the storm relative velocity graphic showing where the potential rotation is. I'm going to go highlight it right here. As this rotation is now moving into the county lines, once again, it's moving into Highway 19, Birdsong Crossroad, north of Carsonville, and also we see Highway 80. So Highway 80, Highway 19, just towards the west of Birdsong Crossroads. These will be the areas that should be aware of potential rotation coming towards them. We're going to zoom out, show you the reflectivity. So this rotation is south of Thomaston, moving into far inland Upson County. And also we are seeing that we have a little bit of a kink, but this kink is not associated with the general rotation. The rotation is just towards the south tip of Upson County near Birdsong Crossroad. We also have some heavy downpours just towards the west of Thomaston. We're going to go back towards the secondary tornado warning in Jasper County. So last time we checked in on them, they were entering the county lines, and right now we're seeing that the rotation is showing signs of weakening. It's showing signs of dissipation, but it's still there. We're going to zoom in. It is now moving towards the east of Alcolvie Shores along State Route 221. Once again, in between Highway 11, 221, and also north of 212. Let's see the secondary, or the other places near this rotation. It's also west of Blackwell, west of 229, and west of Maxwell as well. So central and west Jasper County, they should be aware that rotation is coming towards them. And if you are in between 212 and Highway 229, it'll be best to get into your safe spots, lowest level, away from windows, and being in the most interior room as possible. So bathroom or closet, those will be some pretty good spots to ride out this storm. Here's the reflectivity. And it shows that we're not seeing anything in terms of kinks within the reflectivity. The rotation is associated with this dark red spot right over here. So that's a good sign, because for those who remember the Twiggs County tornado from last month, that reflectivity showed a hook. We're not seeing anything in terms of that. That's a good thing. Here is another tornado warning. I just noticed that. So we have another tornado warning just for the northern part of Jasper County. This is just towards the east of Newborn. Let's see the base velocity of that. Yeah, it's associated with this rotation just towards the north of Newbern. This is lasting until 10:15. Rotation is right over Newborn as of right now. And I'm pulling up the location. It is moving eastward at a speed at 30 miles per hour. So let's take a look at what the potential towns could expect. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, just so that it will allow me to show you where this rotation could go. So it's moving eastward at 30 miles per hour. So Broughton could be receiving this rotation at around 9:45, Swords 10:23, Cary 10:28, Thurston 10:34. So those will be the areas that could be receiving this rotation. And technically this is not central Georgia. This is far north central Georgia. So this is north of Jasper County and Putnam County, which is not considered our viewing area. But in case anyone from these towns are watching, these are the times that they could expect this rotation. So not expecting that tornado warning to be much of a problem in terms for Jasper County. It could be moving to far north Jasper County. Now I'm going to go back towards the tornado warning just a little bit towards the south, and noticing that that rotation is starting to broaden out. We're going to move back in. Still moving just towards the east of all Colby Shores. Now it's moving over 212, getting close to Highway 11. So the next place that could potentially receive this rotation would be Blackwell and Highway 229. These are the places that could be in the way of this potential rotation. So once again, if you're within Highway 11 and Highway 229 between Blackwell and all Colby Shores, if you're listening, this will be a time to go into your safe spot, lowest level, away from windows, and being in the most interior spot in your house or in your building. So that means a bathroom or a closet, just having as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. We're going to go back towards the south. And here is the tornado warning in Upson County. Once again, not seeing much, really broad, and it is a straight line from north to south. Typically, the rotations show a little contrast from east to west. I'm not seeing that. This rotation is very broad. We are still seeing some of the signs there, and I'm going to show you where I'm seeing this rotation. This is right here just south of Thomaston, and it's still moving towards the east northeast. So technically not going in a straight line towards the east, having a little bit of a northeast component, but generally it is moving easterly. And this is south of Thomaston. I am zooming in just a little bit just so that I can show you some of the places. Red Bone Crossroads, Birdsong Crossroads, and Logtown. These are the areas that should be aware that potential rotations coming at you. As I mentioned, nothing that is telling me that something is on the ground, but if you are listening, it's just best to get into your safe spot as of right now and just ride out the storm. A bathroom, a closet in the most interior part of your house or building, that'll be suitable for this. But once again, nothing really telling me that something is on the ground, but this rotation, once again, it's moving across Highway 19, getting into Red Bone Crossroads, Logtown, and potentially Birdsong Crossroads as well. This is in Upson County. So for those that are watching in Lawrence County, Bibb County, Houston County, once again, this is towards your west, and this is in Upson County. So if you're in Upson County, right now, and if you recognize Redbone Crossroads, Logtown, Birdsong Crossroads, along Highway 19 just towards the south of Thomaston, it might be best just to get into your safe spot as of right now. We're getting to the reflectivity just to show you what's going on. And I use this graphic just to show me if there's any signs of winds going into the opposite direction. Not seeing much. The winds have been pretty consistent going from north to south. The rotation is associated with this dark red color right over here. We just saw the wind graphic just a couple moments ago, and that rotation was moving across Highway 19. We are going to zoom out just to check on the other tornado warnings. And I think this is going to be a good opportunity right now. I'm going to stop it right here. Once again, for the people watching, Macon, Warner Robins, Perry, towards the south, Unadilla, Dublin, Milledgeville, they probably will walk outside and notice there's nothing falling on them right now. These tornado warnings that we were talking about, this is towards their far west and their far north in Upson County, and we have 2 tornado warnings in Jasper County. So we're going to go focus on the one just north of Monticello. And not seeing much. There we go. Once again, seeing the contrast in green and red, that's the rotation that the National Weather Service tagged as potentially forming. I don't see any signs that it's on the ground. Here's the rotation just to show you what I'm talking about. This is just towards the northwest of Monticello. And it's still moving towards the east. It's in the central part of the polygon. I'm going to zoom in just to show you the street names and where the roads are located. It is getting close to Blackwell now, approaching Highway 229. So if anyone is listening in Blackwell, it's probably best to get into your safe spot. Once again, I don't think this is anything indicating to me that this is on the ground, but just to be safe, let's write it out. Get into your safe spot. Room that is a closet, a bathroom. As long as you have as many walls in between you and the outside as possible, that could act as a shield from potential debris. That will be great. That will be suitable, but nothing is telling me that anything is on the ground, so that's a good thing. But once again, if you're along Highway 229, Blackwell, it'll be best to get into your safe spot. I think this is a little bit too far towards the north of Monticello, but still Monticello should keep their eyes peeled for any potential rotation. We also have another tornado warning just towards the north of that tornado warning. It's still in Jasper County. Technically, this is consisting mostly for Morgan and Newton, but notice here, far north Jasper County is within that rotation. The rotation itself is just east of Newborn, south of Reest, and the county line for Jasper County is right along here, just a little bit northeast of Newborn, and that rotation is now moving through the northern tip of that county line. So it'll be out of Jasper County pretty soon. And that's a sign either that they canceled the warning or that they added a new warning, but I'm just gonna finish my thought here. So anywhere along Highway 142 and along 213, technically it's not in Jasper County, but they should be aware that something is coming towards them. Rotation, once again, not impressive at all, but it's still there. It's not like it's completely nothing. It's not telling me that it's straight line winds. I can see what the National Weather Service is saying. Notice the green and the red right here. The green is sort of acting like a ball, but typically with impressive tornado signatures, it's bright green and bright red coupled together, and that will tell me that something is on the ground. I'm not seeing any of those signs here. So once again, this is for far north Jasper County. All right, and we have a extension of that tornado warning. This goes into Monroe County and far north Crawford County. And I'm seeing the couplet there. Once again, not showing impressive signature, but it is there. It's just towards the northwest of Logtown. Here is the rotation. All right, northwest of Logtown, having a little bit of a northeasterly component to it. So places within the path of this rotation would be Culloden, Highway 341, potentially Yatesville. So anyone in these areas, I'm going to step out a little bit just to show you, anyone within these areas, Yatesville, Culloden, Highway 341, should get into their safe spots. This rotation is now moving over Logtown as we speak. We're going to zoom out. So this is getting to the far western part of Upson County, approaching Monroe County. So I think Culloden is the place that would potentially be within the direct path of that rotation. So if you're within Culloden, if you're within the vicinity of Highway 341, Strouds as well. Strouds could be also within that path. I'll be aware. I'll keep my eyes peeled for that rotation coming in. I think also now will be the perfect time to get into your safe spot and continue watching with us on 13WZ Plus from the bathroom or from the closet, just to ride out this storm as of right now, as this rotation is heading towards the northeast into Monroe County. We're zooming out just to show you a far better look. So this is a look for everyone that is just watching and want to get a better idea of where this tornado is. So if you're in Bibb County, if you're in Crawford County, if you're watching, this is for West Upson County. That rotation is just towards the southeast of Thomaston, and it's approaching Culloden, getting into Monroe County as we speak. And we could also see it go into potentially Yatesville, as if I remember correctly. But the main message is the general direction of that rotation is getting into Monroe County. But this tornado warning polygon also consists of north Crawford County. Not seeing any signs that it will impact Roberta, but if you are north of Roberta into the northern part of Crawford County, I'd be generally aware of that rotation. But places that should get into their safe spot would be Culloden, and if you live far west in Monroe County, and if you live in the eastern part of Upson County as well. Here's the reflectivity once again, and noticing that it's a straight line. For reference, if you remember that Twiggs County tornado that happened last month, we saw a hook, and a hook tells us that a tornado could very well be on the ground. That's definitely the best signature for indicating if a tornado is there. Not seeing that, seeing just a straight line of heavy downpours and some lightning strikes. We are going to go zoom out just a little bit too, just to show you that the warning also goes into far north Monroe County, so Forsyth is within that warning too. Let's get back to the base velocity. The rotation is now moving over Logtown, and as we speak is inching closer to Monroe County. So once again, if you're within Culloden, near Highway 341, just south of Highway 74, they should be aware that a rotation is coming towards them. So now will be the best time to get into their safe spot. So as of right now, we are now going to switch off towards on air, towards CBS. We'll continue streaming here on 13WZ Plus, but we're going to take a brief second just to switch towards CBS. So we'll be back in a moment. All right, so we have a tornado warning that consists of Upson County, far north Crawford County, and the majority of Monroe County. So here's that tornado warning. This lasts until 10:30 at night. So this is going to last for the next 35 minutes, sorry. Here is the rotation. It is in Upson County, moving across Logtown. So the rotation is highlighted right here. Places that should be aware that a rotation is coming towards them is Yatesville, Culloden in Monroe County. We're going to switch. We're going to move this graphic right here. So if you're within Culloden, if you're in the vicinity of Highway 7, Highway 341 in far west Monroe County, and also if you're south of Yatesville, if you're watching, now is the time to get into your safe spot because we have a rotation heading across Logtown in far east Upson County, getting into Monroe County. We're going to go zoom in once again just to get the specific street names, if there's any in Upson County. Not seeing any street names for Upson County east of Logtown. But places that should keep their eyes peeled and get into their safe spot would be anyone in Culloden, Highway 74, Highway 7, and Highway 341, just south of Stroud's. We also can tell that places or people south of Yatesville should also be aware of this rotation. So if you're within anywhere within this vicinity, I would get into the safe spot, lowest level, away from windows, and being in the most interior room, so a closet or a bathroom, just having as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So that's the rotation. Moving into Monroe County, we are going to check the details in terms of the specific speed. So this is moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. That gives me the opportunity to zoom out and give you a time by time estimate of when this rotation will reach your neck of the woods. Okay. Once again, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. This rotation is now getting into Monroe County officially. So Culloden, getting really close to the arrival of this rotation. Not seeing anything by the National Weather Service indicating that this is on the ground or confirmed. All we have is this rotation by the radar showing winds going in the opposite direction. And notice the bright red right here just towards the west of Culloden. That's what we're mostly focusing on. And that's what's telling us about the rotation. So once again, getting into Monroe County, Culloden. Culloden, now is the time to get into your safe spot. Nothing tells us that anything's confirmed, but it's just better to be safe than sorry. Culloden, Highway 341, Highway 74. These places should be extra aware that the rotation's coming towards them because it is getting close. It is now moving across the border of Upson and into Monroe County, potentially into the far northern tip of Crawford County as well. Other places that should be generally aware of this rotation, Highway 83, Stroud's. We also have Russellville right over here just towards the east, and places along Highway 42. These are the places that also should be extra aware of potentially a rotation coming towards them. And with the new radar scan, seeing that it's starting to broaden out, it's still there. So you notice the bright red and the green going in the opposite direction. That's that rotation. We're going to point it out right here. Here's that area of rotation going into Monroe County, into Culloden, Highway 7, Highway 341, Highway 83, south of Stroud's. But all in all, I know a lot of people live in Culloden. Now is that time to get into your safe spot. Not saying it's confirmed. We're not seeing anything from the National Weather Service telling us that, but it's just, once again, better safe than sorry. Let us zoom out just to show you where this rotation is as compared to the rest of central Georgia. And I'm going to use the base radar to show that. So the rotation is now once again going into Monroe County. Notice here, if you live in Perry, Warner Robins, Rutland, Macon, anywhere, most of central Georgia, they are mainly dry. But this tornado warning once again is consisting of Monroe County, far north Crawford County. But the rotation that we just saw is not even in Crawford County. This is into South Monroe County and Culloden. And potentially this rotation could go more towards the northeast and could go into Bolingbroke. So for anyone listening, I'd say the people who should be most aware of this rotation would be people, the residents of Monroe County. And there I'm seeing a kink in the flow, the reflectivity. That's the kink. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about in terms of what we're looking at in terms of reflectivity. Whenever we see signs of winds going into the opposite direction of the main flow of the storm, that generally tells us that a tornado is forming. So that is a sign that helps with the evidence of this rotation being an actual tornado. This rotation is now moving into Culloden. It's now moving across Highway 341, and it's going towards Highway 74 and also Highway 7. We're zooming in even more. So places that I already listed out, the roads, Highway 74, Highway 7, and Highway 341. Another place that should keep their eyes peeled, Russellville. Let's show that a little bit as I move a little bit towards the east. Russellville, Highway 42, and the extension of Highway 74 as it continues to move towards the east, and the extension of Highway 42 as it moves south. So South Monroe County in general. South Monroe and southwest Monroe County should be aware of this rotation as it continues to move through Culloden and moves across Highway 341. Let's get into the storm relative velocity. This is the graphic that better tells us of the rotation. This does a better job than the other graphic. Once again, moving across Culloden. So I think Culloden is either within that rotation or past that rotation, and it's now moving towards the east across Highway 341. So now I'd say Culloden, they have already experienced this rotation. The places that should be well aware of the incoming potential of this rotation is now Russellville in South Monroe County. We're going to go extend the view. Once again, just to see how that kink developed, if it moved into more of a hook or is it broadening out into a straight line. I'm still seeing that flow going into the opposite direction. Not something that I'd like to see, but that's nothing that tells me that's a straight bet that it's something on the ground. Once again, there is evidence of a potential tornado, but not 100% sure. And the National Weather Service has not said anything yet in terms of if there's a tornado on the ground. Actually, I am now reading a message from the National Weather Service. The next couple of radar scans are going to be crucial. Okay, so what the National Weather Service is also telling me is that they're noticing that flow that I'm talking about, this right here. That's also increasing their evidence of potentially rotation. So they're going to keep an eye on this as well. They didn't say that the tornado is confirmed, but they're also saying that the evidence is there more than the other tornado warnings that we just had in Jasper County and Upson County as well. So that's the current state of what's going on within the dynamics of the storm that's producing this rotation. Now let's get back into where this rotation is. Because even then, even if this rotation is not on the ground, it's still something. We still have to take this seriously. And it's moved past Culloden, still continuing to move eastward And it's going into Highway 42 just south of Russellville. And I'm going to say the name of this town. I'm probably going to mispronounce this. Dyess. I think this is the name of the town. Please excuse me if I am wrong. But if you are within Dyess or generally South Monroe County, the rotation is now heading towards you. If you are along the vicinity of Highway 42 as well, you should be prepared for potentially some gusty winds and maybe a chance of a tornado on the ground. Highway 74, places along Highway 74 going eastbound also should be aware of this as well. So if you were within Dyess, if you're south of Russellville along Highway 42, crossing Highway 74, if you're within that general vicinity, it's best to get into your safe spot, lowest level, away from windows, and being in the most interior room possible. So that could be a bathroom, it could be a closet. As long as you have as many walls between you and the outside as possible, that'd be great. Just ride it out. This warning should last until 10:30, so it shouldn't be that long. We just want you to be safe, just in case this is on the ground. The National Weather Service has not said anything in terms of if this is a confirmed tornado, but we are seeing signs that there is rotation there. So we just want you to be safe and just ride it out. We're going to zoom out just to show you where it is in proximity of the general location of Monroe County. I know people in Forsyth, they're wondering, they're in that tornado warning. They're wondering if they're in the path of that rotation. No, you are not. This rotation is towards the far south part of Monroe County. So Forsyth, you should be good. Any resident of Forsyth, I'd say you could relax at this moment, but you will have some gusty winds and rain coming at you in just a few moments. But one place that I'd keep an extra eye out is Bolingbrook, because this tornado or this potential tornado, this rotation is moving a little bit towards the northeast. I think it'll go south of this. I'm not that sure, but if you're in Bolingbrook and if you're watching, I'd say have an extra eye out for this rotation. Just be more aware. But the places who should really be aware and potentially get into their safe spot as of right now is if you are within Highway 74 moving eastbound outside of Monroe County. So places south of Monroe County within Highway 74, these are the places that should be getting ready to get into their safe spot. So a bathroom, room in their lowest level, and away from windows. All right, we're going to extend the view, and I'm going to see what the National Weather Service, they just dropped another message right there. And they let the warnings in Jasper County, the two warnings, they let them expire. So that's good news. Seeing if there's any extra information in regards to this rotation. Okay. So the new information that I just received is the extension of the severe thunderstorm watch. So the severe thunderstorm watch was originally for Upson and Lamar County. Now we are having added more counties. So majority of the northwestern counties here in central Georgia are now in a severe thunderstorm watch. This includes Taylor, Crawford, Bibb, Jones, Putnam, Jasper, Monroe, Upson. Lamar County was already within that severe thunderstorm watch. Jasper County has already received 2 tornado warnings. They have been expired, and now we're currently tracking that tornado warning in South Monroe. But this is just some general information that will be useful for later on. Now let's get back once again to the locations of that tornado warning. So seeing that the rotation has broadened out, notice 10 minutes ago, that rotation was having some signs of red and green. We saw an inflow going against the general direction of the storm. Now we're just seeing bright colors indicating potentially just gusty winds. It's still in the same spot. So this is east of Culloden, east of Dias. It's just moved across Highway 42. It is now just south of Highway 74 in the far south tip of Monroe County, in the northern tip of Crawford County, a little bit towards the northeast of Musella. And we just heard the ringer right there. Let's see what that entails. That could potentially mean that the warning has canceled. So I just received a message. The tornado warning has been extended in terms of the time, not in terms of the location. So it still will go on until 10:30. Okay. And once again, those 2 tornado warnings in Jasper County, those were canceled. So if you're in Jasper County, you can be a little bit more relaxed as compared to the past hour. Once again, getting back into that rotation, moving just east of Highway 42, just south of Highway 74, going just towards the north of Moran in Crawford County. The people who should be well aware of this rotation is now South Monroe County. And I'm going to extend the view to show you places that could be also within that path, towns for East Monroe County. Not seeing much in terms of any populated areas within that close proximity of that rotation. So generally along Highway 74, anywhere south of Highway 74 should be aware. I'm going to go zoom in a little extra because it's not telling me that there's a populated area towards the north of Highway 74 in South Monroe County. If you are in Moran, if you are north of Moran, I would also get into your safe spot as of right now. This is now the time just to go into the most interior spot in your house or your building, so a bathroom or a closet, and also be away from windows. That would be very suitable for the next couple of minutes. This warning is until 10:30, so I'll just write it out until then. You still got close to 15 minutes until the expiration of this warning. So if you are just north of Moran, if you're close to the vicinity of Moran along Highway 74, it will be great to get into your safe spot. And now that rotation is just moving towards the east. It is getting into the proximity of Moran. And there's also signs that if it continues its general path, it may get close to Lake Tobosofsky, especially the northern side of Lake Tobosofsky, as it continues to move towards the east-northeast along Highway 74. So along this area, north of Lake Tobosofsky, along Highway 74, these will be the spots that should keep their eyes peeled for this rotation. So now we're seeing that the rotation is getting less impressive with each scan. So it used to be a ball, now we're seeing 2 bulges. So now we're getting that sign of potentially weakening. So in my opinion, I think it's now transitioning more into gusty winds, but of course, for the sake of this tornado warning, we'll treat it as if it's a tornado. Now, I don't think this is a 2-mile, 1-mile wide tornado. There's no chance that that's happening. But if you're just south of Monroe County along Highway 74, just be extra aware of this rotation. And now we're going to show you where this tornado warning is in proximity to other places here in central Georgia, just so that our viewers who live in Lawrence County, Bleckley County, Twiggs County, Wilkinson County, Baldwin County know where this rotation is in proximity to them. So most of central Georgia is dry, but this tornado warning is consisting of the south portion of Monroe County. So the people of Monroe County, they should be the ones fully aware of this rotation. But for the people of Forsyth, that rotation's just too far south of you to get close to. So I'd say you could relax for this moment. But for people north of Lake Tobosofsky, North Crawford County, those places, the residents in these areas should be aware of that potential rotation. Good news is we're seeing that the rotation itself is losing steam and is weakening as we speak. All right, here is the new scan of the radar. It's now moving just towards the north of Moran. It's almost like it's still moving through Highway 74. Rotation still broadening out, but once again, these are the areas north of Moran, southeast Monroe County. These are the areas that should be aware of this rotation. That new radar scan shows it continues to move eastward. So now my sights are set for areas north of Lake Tobosofke. I think this is going to be now transitioning into Bibb County. Now, Bibb County is not within that tornado warning. We'll see if that tornado warning has been extended into Bibb County, and there is a real possibility that that can happen. And I'm just checking the chat just to see what the National Weather Service has in terms of their opinion of extending this warning. So they haven't said anything yet, but we're getting to the point where this rotation is now getting into the far eastern part of Monroe County, getting into Bibb County. Now the good thing is, the more and more we see the radar with the new radar scans, it's not being defined anymore. This rotation is starting to broaden out and show similarities to gusty winds, so the straight line winds that we generally see with these cold fronts. So that's a good thing, and hopefully that trends towards potentially gusty winds rather than an actual rotation. And we'll see what the National Weather Service has in store for us. But notice here, not showing any signs of a couplet, so signs of red and green going into the opposite direction. But the main core of that rotation, or what was that rotation, is still moving eastward into Highway 74 and potentially approaching far west Bibb County, places north of Lake Tobosofke. Just should be a little aware of, or be extra aware of that rotation if it is anything. And if it's not rotation, there'll be gusty winds, maybe 40, 50 mile per hour winds that could reach you in the next couple of minutes. Let's go back to the reflectivity just to show you what's going on. We use the reflectivity to see if there are any winds going into the opposite direction. What we look for is kinks. We're not seeing any of that, but if we see winds trying to move towards the opposite direction of the main flow of the storm, that would be a good indication of a tornado, just like what we had in Twiggs County last month, where we saw a defined hook. I'm not seeing that. This will be something similar, but obviously the rotation is just towards the south, so that's not associated with that main part of the rotation. That's pretty irrelevant. But all in all, the reflectivity shows heavy rain and not even showing signs of lightning. That's another good sign, because when we see intense frequency of lightning in a core of a storm, that shows that the storm itself is intensifying, and we'll also see intensifying signatures in terms of rotation. Not seeing any of that with this reflectivity right here. So that's a good thing as this storm moves through Monroe County. Here's once again the graphic that shows if there is any potential rotation. Now we can see that it is now moving into Bibb County, just north of Lake Tobosofke. The warning has not been extended into Bibb County or far east Monroe County, so that's something interesting. But the main rotation, or the sign of the rotation, is now moving into this county line of Bibb County, potentially north of Lake Tobosofke. So here is the signature, if there is any signature. Here it is. Now it's now going across the county line of Monroe County into Bibb County, still moving along Highway 74. Once again, I just want to point this out. The signs of this rotation is just becoming less and less evident as we speak with the new radar scans. So the more I look at this, the more I'm trending towards, if there was a tornado on the ground, I'd say the signs are now point towards it now being just gusty winds. And now we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Bibb County. So what this means is I think that tornado warning is going to expire, because as of right now, this will be the time where they'll extend that tornado warning. Now they're transitioning that tornado warning into a severe thunderstorm warning. So that is really good news, but we still have to deal with gusty winds. And as you just saw with that bright color, that signature just towards the south of Monroe County near Lake Tobosofkee, that's what we're going to have to deal with as the storm moves into Bibb County. So the National Weather Service most likely is going to let this ride. Let's see what they had to say. So the message from National Weather Service in Peachtree City, they said that they're going to let the tornado warning drop and replace it with a severe thunderstorm warning. So this is exactly what happened. They still see some tornado potential in the area, but the storm is moving into a less favorable environment overall. That makes total sense. I mean, we're now approaching the nighttime hours. We're getting close to midnight. We had sunset occur almost 2 hours ago, and the main rule of these storms to develop is they have to develop in the heat of the day. They have to tap into that warm air and that moisture. Now we're getting into the overnight, and we just have less ingredients, less dynamics for these tornadoes to form. So it makes perfect sense that this tornado warning is now transitioning into a severe thunderstorm warning, and we're hoping that this is going to be the main story for the rest of the night. So now we can shift away our focus from a tornado to now gusty winds. Still potentially could bring some impacts to you. Let's go to the radar now, so we can use this reflectivity mode more often. And now I could be more general in terms of my messaging, because of course with the tornado warning I had to be specific towards Monroe County. Now with this severe thunderstorm warning, this encompasses North Bibb County, and it encompasses the rest of Monroe County within that warning. So far south, far east Monroe County, and also has portions of Jones County as well, the western part of Jones County. So this warning is going to last until 10:45. So that's almost in 22 minutes if the clock is correct. And what it entails is the potential for gusty winds going over 60 miles per hour. It doesn't have a hail threat. Something that has been different than the storms in the past couple of weeks. Of course, majority of the severe thunderstorm warnings during that time have been hail, and we've seen some really ridiculously large hail over the past couple of weeks. This is now a traditional severe thunderstorm warning where it just has gusty winds and winds of up to 60 miles per hour. Let's go to the base velocity. Now that the winds have now transitioned into straight line winds, we're seeing that the Boeing segment, the line of gusty winds, is moving into Bolingbroke and far north Bibb County, north of Lake Tobosofkee. So it's now moving just to the north of Lake Tobosofkee, could be approaching Lake Wildwood. I'd say the gusty winds, the leading edge of these winds will be moving over Highway 475 in just a couple of minutes. Bolingbroke should be feeling these winds as of right now, and we're seeing that these winds have actually moved across Highway 75 with that new radar scan. So I'd say North Macon will be now in the path of the worst part of the storm in the next couple of minutes. So North Macon, if you are watching, you don't have to worry about a rotation or a potential tornado, but it's going to be a little bit more active as compared to what you've been dealing with throughout the day. Let's see, check back on the reflectivity. Not seeing any lightning strikes. So we have heavy downpours north of Bolingbroke, Highway I-75, of course. Highway 475, is going to experience the downpours in just a couple of moments. So visibility is going to be low if anyone's driving through these highways. I'm just going to move out once again to give the people who live, say, in Lawrence County, Dodge County, Bleckley County, Twiggs, or maybe if they live down to the south in Telfair and Wheeler County and they want to know if these storms are coming towards them. It will come towards you, but right now the worst of the storms are in West Bibb County moving through Monroe County. That's where we have the only severe thunderstorm warning at the moment. It's again the worst of the storm moving through Bolingbroke and far north Bibb County, so places such as Bass Road, Arkwright Road, Tom Hill, and north of Lake Tobosofsky. Notice here there's a Boeing signature. That's the gusty winds, and which was originally a couplet indicating potential rotation a couple of minutes ago for the past hour. Now it's a line of gusty winds. Let's zoom in just to show you where the worst of the storm is moving into. So now moving past Bolingbroke, it's going to approach Bass Road in just a couple of moments. So North Macon, these are the places that should be aware of some rain and some gusty winds coming to you. Okay, the producer just told me that we will be switching from live television into the stream in just 3 minutes. But I am going to show you the future view, just to show you the behavior of these storms for the next couple of hours. Now notice here the future view is showing that these storms and the rain has broken apart at this moment. We know that that's not true. So treat this scattered blob of rain as if it's an organized line, because we know that that's the current situation as of right now. And it's going to continue to move through central Georgia throughout the next couple of hours. And it's supposed to be generally a fast-moving storm, but it could give some rain and some thunderstorms for the southeastern counties by 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to go hour by hour. Actually, better yet, I'm going to use another model because I completely disagree with the future view. Let's show the HRRR model. This is the high-resolution model, and it's doing a way better job of showing what's going on right now. This is 11 o'clock, moving just towards the eastern part of Macon and Bibb County. I'd say it'll be a little more towards the east. Say Twiggs, Wilkinson County potentially could be within the storm 11 to midnight. Continuously moving towards the east, so places such as Washington, Hancock, Johnson County, 1 to 2 in the morning. Let's see, let's move it a little bit towards the east. There we go. 3 o'clock in the morning. Could see some lingering showers for the southeastern counties. Say Lawrence County could be within the storms by 1 to 2 o'clock. But one thing that's interesting from this model is it's showing that it's going to break apart just like the future view. So that's going to be the main question for the rest of the night. Is this going to hold together? Now there is a chance that it'll break apart due to the fact that it's well late into the night. We're getting into the early morning and the dynamics are becoming less favorable for the storms to continue. But we saw that the storms continue to be organized as they move to Bibb County. So we'll see if it holds together and continues its strength. So now is the time we're going to now transition from on air in CBS to go to the stream on 13 WMAZ Plus. You can download our app and we'll continue to give you coverage, especially as the severe thunderstorm warning continues in Bibb County. Welcome back. We are now officially solely on 13 WMAZ+. Here's the current look at the radar as we have a severe thunderstorm warning for North Bibb County, East Monroe County, and West Jones County. We have some gusty winds as of right now. Originally, this line was a tornado-warned storm, so we had indications of some intense rotation that could potentially be on the ground, but now that's not the case anymore. This is just gusty winds, a traditional severe thunderstorm, just like what we've been experiencing in the past couple of months. We're going to go in the base velocity. We know that we're experiencing heavy downpours for North Macon and East Monroe County. This is now getting into Jones County. Let's see the winds. So the worst of the winds is now heading into far west Jones County. It is moving across the county line of Monroe into Jones County. We have some gusty winds as well for North Bibb County in between Highway 475 and I-75. But the worst of the winds is now moving into far west Jones County. But I think if you live within North Macon, so say Bass, Arkwright, you could be feeling some of the gusts associated with the front as of right now. But I think this is going to be the worst of the storm for you. But this is only going to last for the next couple of minutes. It's a fast-moving storm, so if you notice outside that the trees, the bushes are rustling together, they're moving side to side, that's only going to last for a little brief period. So notice here, this is the winds going into North Bibb, getting into West Jones County. It seems like the worst of the storm is now moving out of Monroe County, and Monroe County has had the worst of the storm so far. Upson County had a tornado warning, but Monroe County, they had the best evidence of a potential tornado in their area, especially for South Monroe. But thankfully, we're seeing that the worst of the storm, so the leading edge of the storm, is moving out of Monroe County and getting into North Bibb County. Let's check on the reflectivity. Noticing some lightning strikes still in Monroe County, and the rain is starting to get a little bit more intense for Bass Road, so North Macon, but still not seeing any lightning over there. That's good. We're getting just towards the north. So along Highway 23 near Dames Ferry, seeing a core of some lightning and some heavy rain. Now I'm seeing some pink. Let's see if there's hail. Sometimes when you see pink on the reflectivity, it may indicate a hail core. Thankfully, we're not seeing that. Let's get back to the reflectivity right now. So no hail at this moment. And since this is due to a large-scale system, hail was not necessarily our highest focus in terms of potential impacts. I mean, the other storms that we've had in the past couple of weeks, they were pop-up in nature, they strengthen in a couple of minutes, and those are the type of storms that produce large hail. So this system, we're not really focused on hail. I don't think it'll be a big priority or a big impact for you for later tonight. This is just heavy rain, and the main impact, of course, that has caused a severe thunderstorm warning is gusty winds. So now the gusty winds are now continuing to move eastward into Jones County. Some gusty winds straight towards the North Arkwright Bass Road. Let us move out just to show you how this will influence you. We're now hearing a beeping sound. I think that is the indication that the tornado warning has expired. I am not seeing anything new, but I'm going to check right now just in case the National Weather Service has issued something more. Okay, yeah, that was the expiration of the tornado warning, and we knew that. The National Weather Service told us in a message that they were going to let that tornado warning ride, and they're going to transition into the severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what's happening right now. So once again, here's a large view of central Georgia. Of course, people are asking how this will impact them. Where are the worst parts of the storm, and when will the worst parts of the storm reach them, especially if they live in the eastern counties? So the worst part of the storm is in West Jones County, North Bibb County, in the eastern part of Monroe County. If you live within Taylor County, Crawford County, you experience some gusty winds, especially towards the north in the last hour. Now it looks like it's transitioned into more of a traditional thunderstorm. So heavy rain, maybe some wind gusts, but not as heavy as what's going on right now in Jones County. We're not seeing anything in terms of rain or storms towards our south. So Crisp County, Dooley County, Macon County, Pulaski County, and Houston County, not seeing anything yet. I do think the storms will then approach Macon County in the next couple of minutes, especially towards the far western side, sorry. So Macon County could see some of the storms. We'll see if there's any additional severe thunderstorm warnings. As of right now, I'm leaning towards a traditional thunderstorm moving into Macon County and Peach County. We're going to go into the future view to show you what these counties towards our east can expect. So in the next couple of hours, this line will continuously move towards our east. It will move into places such as Baldwin County, Hancock County, Washington County, and also Twiggs County. So by 11 midnight, also moving into Macon, Houston, Dooley County, Crisp County at that time. One thing this model also shows is the line breaking apart. And we're hoping that this is the case. I think no one is rooting for strong storms. The models are showing this because the dynamics are becoming less and less favorable for storms to intensify as we reach the midnight hour. So we're now approaching that time where we're outside the frame of sunlight, and sunlight, warm air, is the key source for these storms to fire up and develop. So as we get into the overnight, it's becoming less favorable, and with this model run, it's showing that these storms should break apart and disorganize, and we're hoping that this is the case. So we get into midnight, going into the eastern counties, Lawrence County, Dodge County, Johnson County. By 2 to 3 o'clock, it could be into the far southeastern counties as rain. We'll also watch out if there's any rumbles of thunder, but I think the chances of strong storms will decrease at that time. And then it'll be out of our neck of the woods by 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. And then tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day, mostly sunny conditions. If you have any outdoor plans, it should be great to go. So that's a look at what the storms are going to do in the next couple of hours. Let's get back into the radar. So still seeing that the gusty winds are now moving more into Jones County. Let's make that right now. There we go. It's now moving more into Jones County. North Bibb County, seeing some heavy downpours. Lightning strikes are becoming more frequent for the western part of Jones County. Switching it to our velocity mode, so the winds, gusty winds still prevalent in Jones County along that area of heavy rain and frequent lightning. We're still seeing some winds still lingering for the northern part of Bibb County. And we're seeing that the worst of the storm is now moving towards the border, towards the end of the polygon. So it's going to be interesting to see what the National Weather Service does. I'm going to text them right now. Let's see what they're going to do. All right, just sent them a message. So we're going to see what they think in terms of potentially extending the severe thunderstorm warning. I could definitely see evidence of them doing it. I think this is, once again, a traditional line of gusty winds. Not necessarily impressive. I don't think these winds are going to do anything in terms of major damage, but still it could blow some things over, maybe a tree, especially if it's not deeply rooted. Definitely the potential of that. And this is mainly for Jones County. These gusty winds are now approaching Gray, and we're seeing that the winds are also becoming weaker for North Macon. We're going to switch the Skycam. Now is the time where I think we'll get a pretty good visual on potentially a shelf cloud. So I am now pointing this camera, our downtown Macon Skycam, towards the northwest. Now, once again, the worst of the storm is not in downtown Macon, it's towards North Macon, but we can still get a pretty good visual of the storm approaching Macon. So here's a look at downtown Macon, seeing that the shelf cloud is now moving in. A couple moments ago, I saw some lightning. There you go. We have that lightning strike over there. So if you're within downtown Macon, you could probably feel the signs of the storm. There you go. There you got that good lightning strike there. But the winds should be picking up in the next couple of minutes as the storm continuously moves towards the east. This camera faces towards the west. So this is facing towards areas such as Taylor, Monroe County, Crawford County. This is facing towards the west part of Bibb County, and we're still seeing the signs of the storms moving in. So that's the live look of downtown Macon as we're getting closer towards the arrival of the storms. Going back towards the radar. Seeing that the storms continuously move towards the east, approaching Gray. So just like downtown Macon, noticing that the storm is now towards the northwest, and it picked up the lightning strikes near Highway 475. Gray should also be seeing some of the same stuff from that Skycam, so potentially lightning strikes off in the distance, and maybe a breeze indicating that gust front. We actually have an outflow boundary right over here, so it's now moving into Gray. Residents of Gray should be feeling those winds as the worst part of the storm is approaching you. But when I mean worst part of the storm, think of it as winds from 30, 45 miles per hour. We could see some locally strong winds, but right now it seems pretty consistent as the line of storms is in one uniform line. It's straight. There's no disorganization indicating rotation or really strong winds, insanely strong winds, sorry. So my opinion, I'd say 30, 40 miles per hour. Once again, let's check back at the National Weather Service. Okay. So the National Weather Service is going to have a special weather statement. So a special weather statement is the criteria just under a severe thunderstorm warning, winds reaching up to 45 miles per hour. So they're going to let the severe thunderstorm warning ride. And there we go. As I mentioned, letting the severe thunderstorm warning ride. We just received the end of the warning right there. So now Jones County is within a special weather statement. And also, I'd say the majority of Central Georgia is within that special weather statement as well. So we're transitioning into storms that are generally traditional storms that we see that's not severe. So winds of up to 45 miles per hour, having heavy rain and some lightning strikes. But thankfully, we have nothing severe here in Central Georgia. So no tornado warning or no severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to go to the future view just to show you what's going to happen in the next couple of hours. And then after that, I will prepare for the 11 o'clock show that will happen in 15 minutes. But before then, here is a run. Actually, I'm not going to use that. I think that model is wrong. Here's the better model. So the storms move towards the east. So I'd say it'll move towards Twiggs, Wilkinson County, Baldwin County, Hancock County by the next hour, so by 11 to midnight. Places such as Houston County, Dooley County, Macon County would be within this area. Midnight, 1 o'clock, should be expecting that arrival of the storm. Continuously moving eastward, and the models are indicating that the storms could be breaking apart as the ingredients become less favorable for storm development. So we're hoping that that's the case, but the southeastern counties could be receiving rain or maybe some rumbles of thunder by 2 to 3 o'clock. And then the storms will then officially move on out of our area towards the east, towards the Atlantic. And we should be free. We should be having a great day tomorrow with mostly sunny conditions. Great day to have any outdoor activities. So that is going to be the end of the stream. We'll continue coverage on our show in, let's say, 15 minutes, 13 WMAZ show at 11 o'clock. So we'll continue coverage on there, but it's been a pleasure, and hopefully you stay safe as the storms move on through here in central Georgia. Thank you, and we'll see you back here in 15 minutes.